last year, which of course ultimately would have cost him the championship, but there's so many things that go into a championship, you can't just blame him not being here, but certainly didn't help his chances, did it? But it's all good news to Dan North, that's for sure. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, middle of the fourth row, we're missing somebody.
That's Mark Sugden.
Okay, Mark, sorry to see you not there. Right, here we go then, the revs rise, tension mounts, away we go. Who hooks up nicely? That's going to be Kershaw, was it? Second on the grid?
Ben Round. It was Ben Round, number 66,
sorry, yep.
Who's made a good start there. Good launch. Or a little bit of a twitch there from Adrian Kershaw. He slots into third position ahead of Sean O'Hara and Pete Woodall. That's the top five, with Luke McRae slotting into second place. So the number 16 machine, the two-time race winner already this weekend in this class. Luke McRae, he is there in position number 2, playing chase to the number 66 of Ben Round on this opening lap. But watching the field down from Druids down into Graham Hill Bend. Race leader now onto the back straight as the tail enders head in towards Graham Hill Bend. Such is the pace of the guys at the front. Looks like a bit of a breakaway there between first and second. So that is to say that Ben Round is trying to pull the pin right from the start here in this 10-lap race, which will be 12 miles of racing. So here comes Ben Round, number 66, leading the way. Very high up on the circuit there as he comes around Clark Curve at the end of this opening lap. Luke McRae, Adrian Kershaw, Sean O'Hara, Pete Woodall, and then the 555 machine. And that is James Tucker, who was 7th overall yesterday in race 1 and 9th overall in the race earlier on today. So James Tucker, that is a good start. He's in 6th position at this stage, 3rd in class. So round Druids. And Luke McRae was 0.4 of a second adrift of Ben Round, but down into Graham Hill Bend. Looks like he's trying to gain a few hundredths of, maybe even a tenth of a second on the brakes there. Kershaw, O'Hara and Woodall is still your top 5. Looking further down the order, there's a good battle there, including the number 22 of Simon Finch, just behind the 95 of Chris Rogers. Of course, a former MZ champion is Chris Rogers, but making the switch from the 2-stroke to the 4-stroke. So good to see Chris Rogers out there on the number 95 Honda. End of lap number 2, Ben Round has an advantage of 0.2 of a second now. It's been halved by Luke McRae, who sets the fastest lap of the race of a 54.807. So already quicker than what he was earlier on in the day, and a tenth and a half away from the now new lap record that he set yesterday.
Tenth of a second away, he's not very far away at all, and it's incredible time, 54 odd second laps on these shopping trolleys at the end of the day. I'm not quite sure the horsepower they make. We do have a limit of 50 horsepower, which is strictly enforced. And the great thing is everybody knows that as well. Mark Dent and the team down there in the tech bay, they do lots of checks, lots of dyno runs, lots of weighing. They make sure that everybody is working for a level playing field. Obviously, everybody tries to find every last little advantage they can in racing. That's part of the game. Trying to get rid of the rolling resistance, trying to get slightly better brake pads, slightly grippier clutches. It goes on and on. But your basic horsepower, your basic weight things, they're the key factors as far as we're concerned. And it's down to the rider talent after that. So that's why it's strictly controlled. That's why this class is so popular. It has been very badly controlled at certain other clubs as well, who don't have dynos, don't have access to our facilities, our experience, and it doesn't work out so well. That's a great battle for third.
That's a change of third place, actually. Or Adrian Kershaw, he came across the line a tenth of a second ahead of Sean O'Hara, but it's roles reversed now because Adrian Kershaw using all of the track and a little bit of the green on the exit of Graham Hill Bend. He is now in 4th place because Sean O'Hara has decided that now is the time to put himself into podium position and try and play chase now to Ben Round and Luke McRae. The gap between second and third on the previous lap was 0.8 of a second. And let's have a look at the split times there. Looks like it could be a little bit more than that, maybe even over a second. But this time, the gap between the leading two was half a second. It's now 0.6 as Ben Round puts in a 54.6, and that's a new lap record for Ben Round on lap number 4 in this third race of the weekend for the Thunderbike 500s.
Well, there is a faster lap out there because you mentioned his fast time there. There is a 54.5 out there because Luke McRae went quicker in the second sector as he tries to close the new leader down. So this is going to be interesting. Oh, the round's got a little bit wide there. So we did see young William on the podium a little bit earlier. Can Dad replicate his son or go a little bit better than his son. Certainly Luke McRae would love to see him relegated by at least a place. He takes a slightly different line up there at Clearways. He's closing. Very windy circuit here today. And if you can pick up a bit of a slipstream, which is exactly what Luke McRae is doing, he's going to close that gap down. They came across the line last time, separated by 6/10 of a second. We know they're on lap record pace. It's a 54.494. Unbelievable. He does break the half, so he's got his lap record back, and he's also got the lead back as he goes up the inside there at Paddock Hill Bend, holds onto it, but we know that bend round is going to fight straight back if he can. McRae, though, he likes the look of that lead. You've seen him finish on the podium a number of times in the YPMs, and he's clearly proving his mettle on the 4-stroke as well. He's opening up the gap little by little, inch by inch. Let's have a look at the second times as they trip the timing in just before they tip into Surtees. And he has a 33.8 there for round a 32.9. So 4/10 of a second he has pulled back, and he's only set an average time. He's gone yellow instead of a green or a purple. They've got some back markers to play with as well. Hopefully they won't have too much of a place to play in this particular fight round. A little bit higher on the track than McRae, as McRae lines himself up for the lead again. This time 54.8, 55.3. So definitely a bit quicker there for McRae this time. I wonder if he just pushed himself a little bit too hard, a little bit tired, maybe lost that toe. Now McRae now has the advantage. He's put a back marker between himself and his rival has been held up. It's very frustrating. You only lose a few tenths, but it feels like a lifetime when you're behind somebody who's going that much slower than you really want to go. So that gap definitely opening up. Behind this battle for the lead, we then see Kershaw and O'Hara still arguing over the minor placings there. There's only less than 2/10 of a second behind them. Half a second back, it's Pete Woodall. A little bit further back, we've got Tucker, then Osborne. They're all starting to have a bit of a lonely race. We go back to Ianson and Dwyer, though. They're having a good little scrap. That's a rookie Ianson. Heavyweight Dwyer. Dwyer second of the heavyweights. Ian Carter is the leader of the heavyweights at this stage. And, of course, McRae, leader of the race, leader of C1. Round is leader of C2. So different weights, different classes, but very similar times, very similar performances. But it is another 54, a 54.7 this time. So McRae really is the class of this field, isn't he, Bradley?
Certainly is, as he has that 1 second advantage now over Ben Brown. There is another tail end of the maker into play here, but I think Luke McRae's got enough of an advantage here that it won't cost him too dearly. He can afford to lose a tenth or two, making his way through the tail enders. And that battle for third place has fizzled out a little bit, but Sean O'Hara has fallen back into the clutches of Pete Woodall. So it's no longer a fight for third, but it's a fight for fourth place now between Sean O'Hara, number 7, Pete Woodall, number 75, and James Tucker, number 555. So here comes Luke McRae, number 16 machine, across the line to start the penultimate lap. And he went purple in that previous sector, and it's another new lap record for the number 16 of Luke McRae, 54.343.
Wow, you wonder if we're ever going to see a sub-54 lap. 54.3 is ridiculously fast. Well, we say that, but look at the lap records at Cadwell, where we saw Will and Josh turn up, and they were just absolutely amazing. They slaughtered things. We don't see them down here very often. I didn't see them very often here at Thundersport either, I don't think. But nonetheless, I think if they came here, it's a bit of
a trek from some thought.
Yeah, absolutely. But then, everywhere's a trek from somewhere else, isn't it, really?
That is a fair point.
Going to the Milton Keynes, you want to be close to everything you can.
So round Clearways again for what will be the penultimate time, and no purple sector number 1 this time around for Luke McRae, but he's only a tenth or two away from it. In fact, he's exactly 3/10 away from it, but with a 1.3 second advantage, he doesn't need to push on as hard as what he has done. So the last lap flag has now gone out, as Adrian Kershaw, Sean O'Hara, Pete Woodall and James Tucker all come across the line. So Sean O'Hara seemingly has a bit of a second wind here, because he was in the clutches of Pete Woodall, but that is not the case anymore with a half a second advantage. That is how close it is. And it's all relative, of course. Half a second in CV racing, that's basically 5 seconds.
Yeah, you leave a 2-bike gap between yourself and the bike in front, you'll find 10 gap bikes trying to fill it, I think. Oh, there's a bit of a crowd down there at Grand Hill Bend.
Pete Woodall was caught out there, and it looks like it may work in favour of James Tucker. So up the inside there, oh, 3 wide there. Looks like he's getting caught out a little bit. James Tucker definitely lost out there. Pete Woodall around the outside of the tail ender, and James Tucker forced to submit. But Pete Woodall around the outside again, as is James Tucker, as Luke McRae comes across the line with another victory. So that's 7 wins in a row around this Brands Indy circuit. Adrian Kershaw in 3rd place, and Sean O'Hara on that final lap. He went 0.4 of a second quicker than the man in front, so he was only a 1/4 of a second away from a podium with Sean O'Hara on that final lap. So Luke McRae on top with a 1.8 second advantage.
And we've got 30, unfortunately, the drivers up there, okay. And
Jordan
that's Butler, one of our rookie riders, unfortunately, so he'll hopefully be okay.
Yeah, he's up and on his feet. I can see him from here, Keith. But great shame there for Jordan Butler on the final lap. And looks like dropping down the timing screen as well. It's the number 62 machine
62,
of
yeah,
Max
pulled
McRae.
off into the pits there, I think, unfortunately.
So that's Max McRae. That's the brother of Luke and Ollie, of course, who we have seen on a CB500 at Canada last year and here as well at the ultimate round. But Ollie not racing this weekend. Luke and Max are.